Rachel.
Fired from an unconscious brain during sleep, or something much more important, like life-saving inner guidance. How dreams can be healing and early warning tools for disease, financial crisis, or success. And love is still one of the behavioral science's greatest unanswered questions. Hello, I'm your host, author Kat O'Keefe Kanavos. Welcome to Dreaming Healing, where dreams and cutting-edge scientific research meet on syndicated Dreamvisions 7 radio network. Dreaming Healing is every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, when you can call in and ask Kat questions about your amazing dreams. Talk on air. Call toll-free, 833-220-1200. That's 833-220-1200. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Welcome everyone to Mayhem to Miracles show number 2, all 3 books. What a miracle that is. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. This is the Mayhem to Miracles launch week. And I'm like over the moon because we are still number 1 on Amazon and new releases. So we got a little banner. I'm like so excited. When we're number 2 and I think number 3 in 2 other categories. One of them is anthologies. So the book is doing really, really well tonight. So I want to thank all of you out there who have been busy tweeting about the book and buying the book for yourselves and your friends and Christmas gifts. I'm getting all these messages all over the place. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. And we actually have 2 of the authors here with us tonight that were in all 3 books. Remember, the other 2 books were Chaos to Clarity, which is behind me over here, and Crappy to Happy with the little red umbrella. And then this is the 3rd book in the Sacred Stories series that Reverend Ariel, Patricia, and I wrote together. And this one is Mayhem to Miracles, Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope. And I'm trying to get it so that we don't have the glare on the book from all of my studio lights here. So we're going to be talking about 2 very phenomenal stories in this book tonight. The authors are going to be Deborah Bouvet, who is the owner of Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network. Many of you may know her because you may have heard her name with Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network. And of course, I'm Dreaming Healing on that network. And then Teresa Velarde, who is going to be sharing a story with us about her little glimpse into heaven through the eyes of her dying mother. And the reason that story is so moving is because it shows you the joy that we can have in those last moments here on earth when we realize we're not leaving home, we're going home. And Deborah is going to be talking about something that's very close to so many of us. And this is Domestic Abuse Month, which I didn't realize. Somebody had sent me an email. And her story, Deborah Bouvet's story, deals with living in a household of domestic abuse and coming to the realization when she has her first child that this is not the environment that she wants her child to grow up in. It's time to break the circle. It's time to make a difference finally for her daughter because she loves this newborn so much. But first, before we go to any of that, we're going to do our meditation. So if you're driving in a car right now, whatever you do, don't close your eyes, okay? This is going to work. What we're going to do is we're going to close our eyes. We're going to feel ourselves getting really settled. We're going to take in these 3 deep breaths and we're going to hold them as long as we can. And we're going to allow all the little negativities that we had this week, last year, whenever, the ones that are really bothering us, even possibly even the ones we don't even know about. They're going to get into that breath of life, and we're going to blow them out across the room into the purple flame of Saint Germain, where they're going to be converted into beautiful golden light and return to the universe. So we're not littering the universe with our negativity. And it's important that we not do that. So we're going to convert that negative energy, those negative thoughts, those negative feelings in that breath into beautiful light. And we're going to do that 3 times. And then we're going to imagine holding a power gift in our hand. That power gift can be anything that is powerful to you. It can be your favorite crystal. It can be your favorite ring. This is my mother's ring. It can be your favorite flower. Anything at all that is powerful to you. And we're going to create a bubble, a mirrored bubble around us. And it is not going to let anything but the highest and best in, brought by our spirit guides. So find yourself settling into a comfortable position. And together we're going to take a deep breath in. Feel your lungs filling up with that beautiful light. Imagine any negativity getting stuck into that breath of life and blow it out across the room. Again, deep breath in. Feel it just sucking up all those little negativities, like little pieces of pepper, something someone said to you, something you said to them, something that's been bothering you all your life. Now you get rid of it. Blow it out across the room into the purple flame of Saint Germain. One more time, deep breath in, really fill your lungs. As full as you can. And blow it out across the room. Empty your lungs out, all the way out. Now imagine holding your power gift in your hand, swinging it all around your body and creating this beautiful mirrored light that is only going to allow that which is of the highest and best to come in, brought by your spirit guides and guardian angels. Everything else is reflected back from whence it came. We wish it so, and therefore it is. When you're ready, just kind of open up your eyes and get yourself resettled. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about our guests tonight. Okay? So one of our guests, Reverend Ariel Patricia, who is the co-author of the book with me, is in Peru tonight. And she doesn't have a really good internet connection there. So she may be watching us right now, but unfortunately, she's not going to actually get to join us. But I'm going to tell you about her story as well. And she is the publisher and co-author of the book. She's a publisher of Sacred Stories. She felt the calling to found Sacred Stories Publishing and Media after a series of events changed the course of her life. Since then, she has been on a heart-based mission to help others tell and share their own stories of transformation to a global audience. As an ordained interfaith, interspiritual minister, sorry about that, guys, this is live TV, and I forgot to turn my phone off. So anyhow, where was it? Oh, interfaith, interspiritual minister, Ariel believes every story is a sacred stories. And you can find out more about her if you go to my website on Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network and click Dreaming Healing. And the poster for this week is right there with all of the bios, long bios. This is the shorter one with their links. And you can find her at sacredstoriespublishing.com. And that's SACREDSTORIES publishing.com. So Teresa Velarde, our other guest that you will see tonight, she's here, is a published author, speaker, publisher of WeBeBooksPublishing.com. she's also a potter. So not only does she create books, she creates pottery. And she's a Dreamvisions 7 radio show host of Conversations That Make a Difference. She's committed to making a difference in the lives of others, and she uses her gifts to help people get their stories told in books. You can find out more about her at teresavelarde.com. And our third guest is Deborah Bouvet, and she is an intuitive energy practitioner. She's an author and founder of Global Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network and Kids for Love Project, all fostering love, unity, and elevated consciousness. You can find her at Dreamvisions with an S, Dreamvisions7radio.com. So welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about, promoting your stories. And I'm just going to start with Ariel, since she's not here. We're going to talk about her first, since she's not here. I'm so mean. No, she's actually, her synopsis in part 4, Life, Journey, and Identity, the hope to go on. Ariel knew life was really hard. Unfortunately, even with the best of intentions, it was becoming evident that her emotional health was going to get worse before it got better. So Ariel called herself a functioning depressive. And the quote she talked about is, "It was confirmed. I was special, chosen, and had great work to do." And that work is actually in this book and publishing this book as well. She is the publisher of the book, Sacred Stories Publishing, and we're co-authors on the book. So Ariel, if you're watching right now, we miss you, but we know you're having a great time in Peru, and your story is amazing. So Teresa Velarde, you are actually in part 2 of the book, Health and Well-Being, I'll Stand By You. And the story title is A Little Glimpse of Heaven. And in this story, the mayhem of your mother's death becomes the miracle of a glimpse of the afterlife. And the quote you shared in the book is, "I had heard of people seeing their deceased relatives before making the journey to heaven, but I caught a glimpse of it in my mother's dying eyes." A miracle. So we're going to talk about Teresa's story tonight, and then we've got Deborah Bouvet. And Deborah Bouvet's story that I gave you a little information about is in part 3 of this book. It's called part 3, is called Grief and Loss, Let the Circle Be Unbroken. And her story title is A Mother's Mission to Save Her Child. And so in her dysfunctional relationship, Deborah Bouvet keeps a really low profile in her marriage and makes up stories to explain the bruises. Deborah's mom had her own tumultuous childhood, experiencing things no child should endure. And this affected her marriage. This affected Deborah's marriage as well. Then while Deborah is pregnant with her first child, her husband hits her. And Deborah vows that neither he nor anyone else will harm her child. And the circle of abuse is finally broken. And from that day on, Deborah's mission is to keep her child safe. And her quote in the book is, "I would imagine what the future would look like for my child." And so, Deborah, I'm going to start with you. Your quote says, "I would imagine what the future would look like for my child." And when you were imagining that, did you look at the future if you didn't leave and your daughter got into an abusive relationship also because of that circle? Or were you looking at the future and what it would look like for your daughter if you left?
Actually, both. Yeah. I knew that if I stayed there with her, that she would be physically and emotionally abused. And I couldn't imagine that happening to her. I accepted it for myself because I was used to emotional abuse when we were little. And so I just accepted it, and I was very young. And so when I thought about the future, I always thought of a husband and a wife in a home together, and the children were safe. And that's probably the short story of it.
You know, that's a dream I think most people have. That is
Yeah.
the dream. And so it's amazing how we have to work for that dream, because Teresa Velarde, in the other two books, the Sacred Story books, Chaos to Clarity and Crappy to Happy, you talked about the abusive relationship that you were in and how you made a decision to get out of it as well for your son. Deborah gets out of it for her daughter. You get out of it for your son. Would you like to comment on that, especially since this is a domestic abuse month?
Yes, absolutely. So my ex was alcoholic and drug addicted, and he was, half the time he didn't know what he was doing, but I was the recipient of rage and both emotional abuse and physical abuse. And I stayed too long. I felt like I wanted to stay for my son. However, what was I showing him? I came to the realization that, first of all, I was better than this. And I didn't want my son to go through life thinking that this is what men do to their wives, So, and the straw that broke the camel's back was the day that I ended up with my son in the hospital undergoing plastic surgery because his father broke his nose. So it was hard. And then I had what I call a come to Jesus moment. And I had to look in the mirror and say, and really ask myself a question from two perspectives. Who am I in this relationship? Who am I just on this planet? And why am I here? Who am I and why am I here? Why am I staying in this marriage? And why am I on this planet? What's my purpose? And I realized that no matter what purpose God had given me, I was not going to fulfill it in this relationship. So I began to make the move out of that situation. And I'm so grateful because my entire world opened up after that. So
it takes a lot of courage to do that.
It does. It does. I'm glad you said that, Deborah, because it does. And at the time, what I'm hearing from both of you, and what I've heard from other women who have been in abusive relationships, the women have such low self-esteem during this time, and possibly from when they were children, that they would never get out of the relationship for themselves. What happens is when they hold that bundle of love in their arms, suddenly they're ready to fight for that child. And that's the turning point. When the mother says, you're not going to do to my child what you are doing to me. I must make a decision. I must make a move. I have to change my situation for my child. And so this being physical abuse month or
domestic violence.
Yeah, domestic violence awareness, basically, month.
Right.
I think that's something that's really, really important. So while we're on it, if there's one piece of advice you could give maybe someone watching this program tonight, what would it be?
Deborah? I would say that, first of all, I agree with you that many women, and men too, but most women grow up with low self-esteem. They don't value themselves. And if they come from a tumultuous childhood where someone is telling you daily that you're stupid and you're not enough or you're an idiot every day, then you believe them. And so when you get married or you have a partnership and that continues only with a different person, then you believe it still. So it's hard to get out of the situation, but if you hold on to hope and you call on that inner strength that we all have, that God wisdom inside, then you can get out of the situation. Even with kids, even if you don't have enough funds to leave, it's your life. And nowadays, there's so much help. There's places you can call. I actually ended up volunteering for New Hope in our area for battered women and children. And that's how I actually went through the healing process and helping others, helping myself at the same time. But there is a lot of groups, a lot of agencies, a lot of phone calls that you can make when you are alone and away, and start planning. Start planning, have this inner strength to plan now, to leave, and it can be done.
That's great. Teresa, what would you like to add to that, if anything?
I agree with everything that Deborah said. And for me, I know that there was a lot of shame around what I was hiding, and I would make excuses. I was just so ashamed of what I was going through, and nobody knew. So my best piece of advice: tell someone what's going on in your household, someone that you trust, someone who can help you to move through the process, as Deborah said, of making a plan to get out. I had a bag hidden with clothes for myself and my son and some money and an extra set of car keys because he was forever taking my keys. And there was a lot of things that were going on. So I had to make a plan. And I think I called that story in Chaos to Clarity, Courage is Fear That Said Its Prayers. And that's exactly what it was. I was so afraid, yet I relied on my intuition. I relied on my relationship with people who were in a program called Al-Anon that helped me to claim myself back and separate myself from my abusive husband. And because he was a drinker, that's why that was my qualifier. And I was able then to make a plan, do exactly what Deborah said that this organization helps people with, and definitely get involved. There's a lot of organizations out there for domestic violence.
There are. Thank you. We've got to take a quick break, everyone, so don't go away. You are listening to Dreaming Healing on syndicated Dreamvisions 7 radio network, and I'm your host, Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos, but my friends all call me Kat, so I hope you will too. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe Kanavos, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Burke. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dreamvisions 7 radio network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Omega Institute, offering workshops, retreats, and online learning dedicated to awakening the best in the human spirit. For over 40 years, Omega has seen more than 1 million people come through its doors to grow, learn, and find a greater sense of purpose. With over 350 workshops to choose from, Omega offers something for everyone. Located in Rhinebeck, New York, just 90 miles north of New York City, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. Again, 877-944-2002.
Have you met your physician within yet? The Nautilus and multi-award-winning book, Surviving Cancerland: Intuitive Aspects of Healing, is a memoir that takes you down the rabbit hole of healing dreams and interpretations, mixed with conventional medicine and treatments. Listen to the hookah-puffing caterpillar ask, "Who are you?" Dr. Bernie Siegel says Kathleen's story is powerful, honest, and eye-opening. Surviving Cancerland: Intuitive Aspects of Healing by 3-time breast cancer survivor Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. Buy the book and audio at KathleenO'KeefeKanavos.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers.
Ever had a strange dream? Nautilus Award winner, Dreams That Can Save Your Life, Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases by Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos and Duke University radiologist Dr. Larry Burke, forward by Dr. Bernie Siegel, shares how people like you self-advocated in the face of adversity and won using dreams. Read life-saving dream stories validated by medical reports. Hear how dreams of dead loved ones saved lives. Use interpretations and journaling as roadmaps in your waking world for health, wealth, and love. Dreams That Can Save Your Life. Early Warning Signs of Cancer and Other Diseases. Buy the audio and book at KathleenO'KeefeKanavos.com in English and Italian worldwide and through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other retailers.
This is Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second section of Dreaming Healing. I'm your host, Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos, but my friends all call me Kat. If you're just listening right now and you would like to watch, you can go to my website on Dreamvision 7 Radio Network and look for Dreaming Healing, or you can go to my website, The Queen of Dreams, and in the top upper right-hand corner, just click the button that says Dreamvision 7. It'll take you right to the website on Dreamvision 7 Radio Network to my Dreaming Healing show. And you can look for the little YouTube TV there, click on it, and you can watch us. Join in the fun. So we're in the second section of Dreaming Healing tonight, and I'm just going to read a couple of little sections out of the book because I think they are just that amazing. So sit back, get comfortable, and I'm going to read you a little story. Mm-hmm. This one is actually from Deborah Bouvet's story. My childhood experiences and learning to be independent helped me through this crisis. I thought about my mom a lot. I loved her unconditionally, but I wanted to do everything I could to not be like her. During my marriage, as time went on, he would go on bouts of drinking and occasional trips with guy friends. When he'd return, I would do my best to keep a low profile. My friends said he was cheating on me. It didn't really matter anymore. To keep my inner strength up, I would imagine what the future would look like with my child. It was time. The baby was coming. I was glad my husband wasn't around and I didn't want him there. I asked a neighbor to take me to the hospital. It was a baby girl. After 4 days in the hospital, I came home with my baby daughter. A deep surge of love came over me, and even though I felt totally overwhelmed, it took a month to recover from childbirth and get some strength back. As my husband continued to take off for days at a time, my plan was coming together. Looking back, I realize now that I've been guided since I was a child. I was then and am never alone now. I've learned so much about my true self and now value who I am. I've embraced the difficult times. I even see them as a gift to my being. I'm a brave, determined woman who can accomplish anything I put my mind and heart to. I was on a mission to do everything possible for my daughter because I loved her so dearly. In the presence of making a life for her, I saved my own. So, Deborah Bouvet, how does it make you feel now, hearing what you were going through then and why you got out of it?
Well, when I think back, I don't know how I did it. And I think most people feel that way when they're going through a very deep challenge. You get through it somehow, and then you look back and you're in wonder, how did that come together? Because when I actually left, I was 21 years old. I had no place to go. I had no roof over my head, but I was going. And so I think back at that little Debbie, as I say, and I'm amazed that I had the fortitude, but I was driven, as I had mentioned in the book, to get out of that situation and save her, because I just knew it would be a dangerous situation if I stayed. And so I'm really proud of myself back then. And I have to say that I wasn't at the higher consciousness that I am now. But yet I knew that I had some kind of assistance. I didn't know what to call it at that time, but I just kept moving forward. And I must say that the first place that we found, because my stepmother, I'm sorry, rode us around. And one of the most upsetting experience was that back in that time, they would not rent to a woman with a child by herself. You had to have a man. You had to be married. And that's what they would say. Where is your husband? And I would say, I don't have one. And they'd say, I'm sorry, you have to go. And we did this for days. And but I did find a woman who rented to 4 single moms with children. And so I'll never forget her. She was just amazing. It was unbelievable. Yeah, so
wow.
a lot, just like Teresa, I'm sure there's a lot of details that you go through, but you just keep moving forward because you have your mission. One of the things I would like to say, though, is back then, because I was only 21 and I didn't realize what I was doing, in order to have the fortitude to do everything, I decided that I would start hating my husband. And obviously, we know in today's conscious environment that hating does not help the body, heal the body, and certainly doesn't serve a child in that kind of thinking and thought process, because I know that she could feel that as well. So it took years, but I had dreams every night for years, but I finally did come to peace, and I realized that I needed to send him love and healing. And then at that time I was at peace, but it took years.
I'm sure. Yeah. Teresa, it took you years as well, didn't it? I think you mentioned to me it takes a real long time to get over something like that. So Teresa, I want to read a little section from the book that you wrote, okay? Okay, so this is from Teresa's story, Teresa Velarde. She says, Mom wasn't doing well. She spent most of the day in bed and kept telling me the names of people she wanted to see before she died. The doctor who had taken care of her for so many years, and several friends and family members. I made the calls, and she got to see most of them that day. That night, while I was tucking her in and talking about her day, she got completely distracted from the conversation. She kept looking over my shoulder to the corner of the room where it met the ceiling. Although I tried to get her attention, her eyes were fixed on that spot. Soon she began to giggle. I watched her for a few more minutes before asking her, "Mom, what's going on?" Then it hit me. "Okay, Mom, who's here?" She turned and looked at me, and one by one, she said the names of all my deceased relatives. I have to tell you what's going on right now. This is not in the book. Google just turned itself on, and there's a woman's voice talking to me, and I have no idea what it's saying.
Wow.
It just stopped. So that was the voice you heard in the background. Google just turned on, and it's in a completely other room. So anyhow, let me back up. Then it hit me. "Okay, Mom, who's here?" She turned and looked at me, and one by one, she said the names of all my deceased relatives. As I listened, I saw her face light up with joy. "Mom, what are they doing?" I asked. "They're cooking the pasta for the party," she said. "I'm going home." Her joy and excitement was palpable. I had heard of people having similar experiences and seeing their deceased loved ones and relatives before making the journey to heaven, but I caught a glimpse of it in my mother's dying eyes. A miracle.
Yeah.
So Teresa, I mean, there's something really powerful, not just in the story, but my equipment in the house just turned itself on when I was reading this. So I know there is energy in this story. Hearing me read this to you, and I know that Sister Dr. Jenna also chose a portion of your story to read to her followers on LinkedIn and on Instagram. So this is a very powerful story. How does it feel now hearing me read it to you?
A little overwhelming, to be honest, because I'm taken right back to that moment. And it's funny, as you were saying that the Alexa or whatever you have, Hey Google, was on, I had chills running up and down my spine. And that's just really is bizarre. But I want to say something in relation to that with my mother. I was so connected to my mother, and this is not in the story. This is something that I can tell you now because of what just happened on your side, Kat. For some reason, my mother and I, when she was working, I would think about her around lunchtime. I should call my mom, whatever, or I should stop by. And she would get home from work and she would say to me, "Teresa, did you call me at whatever time?" And I said, "No." She said, "The most bizarre thing happened. Your outgoing message on your phone is on my recorder." Now, this is back in the day of, when we had the machines, the answering machines that would take the messages. And she said, "Your outgoing message from your phone is on my recording." I said, "Oh, come on, Mom, that's not happening." Well, then it started to happen in reverse. Her machine would call my machine, and my machine would call her machine, and neither one of us was anywhere near the house. So it was just really bizarre. And I called the phone company and I told them about this, and they said, "Lady, you're crazy. That doesn't happen." And so I'm not surprised that you just had what happened there, because there's something, I am still so energetically connected to my mother. It's crazy. So but that experience of her passing on, and my sisters thought that my one sister called me cold-hearted. And I said, "Why do you say that?" And she said, "Because how could you get up in front of the church and all those people and give the eulogy without shedding a tear? I'm like, okay. I spent really good time with my mother before she left.
Mhm.
And,
you had seen through her eyes that glimpse of heaven that she wasn't leaving you as much as she was joining all the rest of your family, the tribe. Those of you in chakras, your first chakra, your tribe chakra. Our chakra, our tribe is not just here on earth; it's also in heaven. They're all the people who have passed over, and she was rejoining them, which was so beautiful, Teresa. So beautiful.
Yeah. Yes. And I will say this too, a couple of days before that, when I was there, when she was still lucid and before things started to really happen, she would say to me, she sat me down and she said, Teresa, I just want to tell you something. She said, I'm really tired and it's time for me to go home and I'm ready because I know where I'm going. She knew. She was having glimpses of heaven all along. And so she knew. She was confident of where she was going. She knew God. She was, she was devout in her prayer life and her faith. And so she knew where she was going. She was having glimpses of that even long before I got a glimpse of heaven through her eyes. And it was just an amazing experience because it took me back to when I was 7 years old, 5 or 6 or 7 years old, and even a little bit older than that. Sunday dinner was either at my grandmother's next door or my Aunt Rose down the block. And after everybody had dinner, we would go down to the second kitchen. They both had 2 kitchens in their house. Don't ask, these Italian women, we know. Anyway, so we would go make the pasta for the next week's meal. So as soon as she said they're making the pasta for the party, I was transported back to that time in my life when that was there were sacred moments with my mom and with my grandmother and with my great aunts and my sisters. And it was just beautiful.
I have to share with you guys in our audience. Oh, where did it go? Hold on. There was a message that came in, and it was sent to me on my phone, and it says it's one of the people that are listening on the show. Says, church kept me in a bad relationship too long. Pastor and members preached how important to forgive my abuser was. So, we have all these different relationships. Our relationships that are important to us in life aren't necessarily marriage or regular family. It can be whatever group we're in, whatever relationship we're in. And in this particular person's case, it was a religious abusive relationship. And I know that in our first book, Chaos to Clarity, Dr. Ann Worth talks about the exact same thing. Remember that, Teresa Velarde? Yeah, she was talking about the exact same thing. So it's time for us to take another break. I cannot believe how fast this show is going. It is a great show. You are watching Dreaming Healing on Dreamvisions 7 Radio Network. I'm your host, Kat Kanavos. We have Deborah Bouvet and Teresa Velarde with us tonight. We're talking about mayhem to miracles and their stories in mayhem to miracles. And when we come back, we're going to talk about their miracles. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Every word you speak matters. What you say and how you say it can make or break a relationship or shift the outcome of any situation. Are your conversations making a difference? Faith in God, gratitude, authenticity, and giving are Teresa Velarde's heart. It's in this spirit that she's focused on making a difference in the lives she's blessed to touch. Conversations That Make a Difference is now on syndicated Dreamvision 7 radio network every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Darkest hours to brightest moments, transformation from despair to happiness, and chaos to clarity. Real people, real pain, real healing. Life-threatening illness, death, abusive relationships, divorce, and overcoming addiction are challenges these men and women faced head-on. See how they emerged stronger and happier. Buy the new book, Chaos to Clarity, Sacred Stories of Transformational Change by Reverend Patricia Caginello and Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. Available on sacredstoriespublishing.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers.
Are miracles real? Can you move from mayhem to miracles? 30 prominent authors say yes as they share their high fives and down lows of challenges, abuse, addiction, and love. Experience hope, the magic elixir of miracles, through the personal stories of New York Times bestselling authors James Redfield, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Sister Jenna, Reverend Temple Hayes, and many more. If you like bestsellers, Chaos to Clarity, and Crappy to Happy, you'll love crying and laughing through mayhem to miracles. Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope, available now on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide.
Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So, grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel Patricia and Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide.
This is Dreamvision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back to Dreaming Healing, to the last section of our show. This show has gone so fast tonight. I can't believe it. It just flew by. We have guest Deborah Bouvet, who owns Dreamvision 7 Radio Network, and Teresa Velarde, who is the publisher of WeBeBooksPublishing.com. You can go to their websites from my website on Dreamvision 7 Radio Network. And you can get there from my website, KathleenO'KeefeCanvas.com, or The Queen of Dreams. And in the upper right-hand corner, you can click that and go right to my website on Dreamvision 7 Radio Network. So just before the break, we were talking about the mayhem that our two guests went through, and their stories are in the third book of the Sacred Stories series, Mayhem to Miracles, Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope. And this is the third book in the Sacred Stories series. We made mention of the first one, Chaos to Clarity, and that was Sacred Stories of Transformational Change. And we were talking about how Dr. Ann Worth has her story about not only family abuse, but abuse with the church and a number of different abuses all wrapped up in her story. And then our second book, which is still an Amazon bestseller, Crappy to Happy. I think people bought it just for the title. And what makes this show tonight so special is our two authors, Deborah Bouvet and Teresa Velarde, and Reverend Ariel Patricia, who could not be with us tonight, were in all three of these books. They've been authors in all three books. So we're just tickled pink to have them here with us tonight. Okay, so we went over the mayhem that you had gone through in your story, let's talk about the miracle. Deborah, what was your miracle, and how have you carried that miracle into your now?
Well, it was freeing both myself and my child from a life of abuse. I mean, that in itself is a miracle. And then having her safe. And it's probably one of the threads, the common threads throughout my life is feeling safe from and abandonment are probably the two, not probably, they are the two most prominent pieces. And so, and the woman that rented to us was a miracle. And then for me, as you know, I always think the most amazing miracle is meeting my second husband. I went from the worst to the best, and having him for 17 years, and he adopted my daughter, and it was just great. So when I think of all that we went through and the outcome, it's definitely a miracle, or should I say a basket of miracles.
It is. And another miraculous little egg in your basket is Dreamvision 7 Radio Network, because that network is helping so many people. The messages from the hosts that you choose to be on your network have incredible messages, like Teresa's, conversations that make a difference. Oh my goodness. The conversations she has on her show are amazing, and your show as well. So I add that to your basket of miracles. Yes. So Teresa, same question to you. What was your miracle, and how have you carried that miracle into today?
So the miracle of seeing heaven in my mother's eyes is really something that I will forever carry with me. And of course, since that time, there have been other relatives who have passed. There have been other people that I know in my life that have passed. And seeing the joy in my mother's eyes as she was relaying to me what was happening in the little corner of the room, as she finally came back to tell me that, just makes it so much easier to handle loss of people, knowing that how can you cry when you see something like that? How can you be upset that, yes, of course, we miss the people that are gone, but that's our own stuff. That's our own thing. For them, I feel like if I truly love the person, it goes back to an old saying, if you love something, let it go. And so, you have to let them go and know that my belief system teaches me that I know where she is, and she's watching over me. And I feel the same way about other people who have passed on. I'm able to take that hope of something beyond this to people who have even asked me, how did you get over the death of your mom? How did you get over the death of your dad? I lost both my parents to cancer at very young ages. And although it's tough, I have comfort in knowing where they are. And that's the miracle.
Yes, you had a little glimpse of where they were going, and that gives us such peace of mind and peace of heart as well, because if you live long enough, you're going to lose a lot of people. And I know that there are many of you out there watching this show tonight who have lost loved ones just to COVID. I mean, this has just been a real challenge right now. So would I be correct, Deborah and Teresa, in saying that yes, miracles do exist, and we still have miracles happening in our lifetimes now? Deborah, what are your feelings on that?
Absolutely. There's synchronicities, there's guidance every step of the way, every day. All we have to do is believe and listen and say out loud that I'm listening to all the guidance. Show me the way, especially when you're going through a challenge. Ask for the guidance, not, please, please, please let this happen type thing, but show me the guidance, show me what the next step is, show me what to do, what do I need to know, things like that. But the miracles are every day. How many times have we been in the car and almost been in an accident? Yes. That's a miracle. And we have guides and angels protecting us because it isn't our time.
Mm-hmm. I always say, Teresa, that we are all born with spirit guides and guardian angels. We're their job, and they take that job seriously. I swear mine draws straws every morning to see who's going to have to watch over me for the day. But, and I think that's a miracle too, in order to be able to connect with those spirit guides and guardian angels from the other side. So, Teresa, do you believe in miracles also?
Oh, of course. Absolutely. Absolutely. Without a doubt. How could I not? And I've had so many things happen in my life that have turned around, just like what some people might say are the clear blue. And I know that there's been some divine intervention making things change. So I just absolutely know that there are miracles. And I have to say that one of my friends who was attending my parents' my mother's funeral said she has the gift of being able to she's a medium, I guess you would call it. She's a medium. And so we're standing in the funeral home, and she said to me, Teresa, she came and she whispered in my ear, she said, just want to let you know that your parents are standing at the head of the casket, and they want me to tell you, thank you for the party. You did a great job. So I'm like, okay, there were so many people there. So I believe that there are, that was just an affirmation, and that they do see that everything is, that everything that's going on, and that they are with us, and that in itself is a miracle. To have her whisper that to me was just amazing. And I do see miracles in my life every day. I see the miracle of my son and how he has grown up, and he's got this great restaurant now. And there was a time in my life that I didn't think that he was going to be anywhere near that type of life. But he grew up, and he took responsibility for his life, and I had to do the same thing. I had to take responsibility for my life. So I'd like to think that I was a good example for him to be able to do the same. And that's a miracle, because I was a mess.
Yeah, I know. And if you want to read about Teresa's messes, she's in there. 2 books with Deborah Bouvet, but Mayhem to Miracles, Sacred Stories of Transformational Hope is available on Amazon. It is an Amazon bestseller now in new releases. So today's the launch day. So if you go and order it today, you will get the book immediately. We've got to go. The show has come to an end. I just want to thank you both so much for being with us. And I want to thank our audience for sending in messages to me. I really appreciate that. And I hope you'll tune in again on the second Tuesday of this month for more Mayhem to Miracles and incredible stories of transformational hope. Good night, everybody. Remember, everybody dreams, some dreams save lives.
Thank you, Kat.
Thank you for joining us this evening, and a big thanks to our producer. Tune in next time to Dreaming Healing for more cutting-edge research, live dream interpretations, and stories with radio host and award-winning author Kat O'Keefe Kanavos. Listen every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time with call-in live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dreamvisions 7 radio network. Remember, everyone dreams, but some dreams save lives. Live your dreams. Find more about Kat at KathleenO'KeefeKanavos.com. That's Kathleen with a K. OKEEFEKANAVOS. Or The Queen of Dreams on Google search.
This is Dreamvision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and joy. Let life flow.